So Stephanie White is the coach of the Fever, and obviously, look, the Indiana Fever have their team almost set. It literally comes down to Makayla Timpson versus Jaylen Brown.
Just now, another WNBA roster was secured. It's not just a signing either. The Indiana Fever recently completed their roster. Filling space isn't the only goal. A defensive beast was added. Even if they don't score, they could be Caitlin Clark's greatest weapon. That's good indeed. Who entered then and who did not? Hold on tight.
It's a really, really good thing to make this team. Like, it's not easy to make. Like, I know a lot of people just assume rookies make teams like it's the NBA. They don't. They don't. Not in the WNBA. Not with 12 roster spots. Not with no G League.
Let's clarify one issue. It's a nightmare to create a WNBA roster. It's not the NBA. Just because you were drafted doesn't mean you receive free passes. You don't have a comfortable G League backup. Either you get cut or you don't. They officially declared it in Indiana Fever. Makayla Timpson just managed to get it. That last position.
So I just want to say congratulations to Makayla Timpson. I gotta say congrats to Makayla Timpson on making the final Indiana Fever roster.
Furthermore, this isn't one of those claims that, oh, she made it because no one else was left. Michaela outperformed several others and gained that position. People with louder fans, better high GVF fights, and more impressive resumes. Let's discuss what is truly important in this situation. Yay, final player isn't the only thing here. No, Caitlin Clark's ability to function will be subtly and possibly violently altered by this chess piece. Because Indiana just made a defensive play while the NBA is busy swooning over gaudy offensive plays and logo threes. To put up 20, they added someone who isn't present. Her purpose is to ensure that you don't. Makayla Timpson is the unsung hero that every successful team eventually needs. A frontcourt star who just disrupts without requiring attention or attention. She's unpolished. Yes, but she's a sportswoman. She moves quickly. She desires the smoke. She's the type of player who can make your defense a nightmare in the long run. You're also reviving a conflict zone. She is more than simply a cutesy addition. Bree Hall was ejected from that location by her. Bree Hall, a legitimate contender. Even if Hall has promise and admirers, Michaela made it impossible to omit her. That hard cap. It's brutal, really. The luxury of keeping players based on vibes was not available to the Fever. Michaela provided them with the parts they needed that would work both today and in the future. Oh, and don't even mention those stat monsters from abroad that conned folks. For instance, Jillian Lane led leagues in Turkey in both points and rebounds while she was out here, but the same thing keeps happening. If you are unable to translate, garbage team statistics are meaningless. Fever did not bite. They examined the real players in this league. Michaela was a good example of that. High motor, rough, strong, and devoid of diva energy. And let us simply admit this. She was 19 when she was drafted because of the Fever. 19, highway robbery is what that is.
Hold on.
To be honest, given the course of this draft, if they hadn't moved down, they might have chosen her even at number 8. Take a moment to process that. The league was essentially dealt a reverse Uno by the Fever. Moved down, and yet managed to acquire the player that finished their roster as cleanly as possible. And at the time of the draft, most people didn't even associate Michaela with the Fever since they all believed that they had Boston, Dyrus Dantas, height, and needed depth at the perimeter. False. When things became serious, they wanted someone who could paint with Boston's fervor. She was a rebounding bruiser who could compete with switches. When Caitlin Clark starts the quick break, the floor runs and rent depends on it. That individual is Michaela. Is she flawless?
No.
However, this is not a final product situation. This is a case where you can turn it into gold. She had a clean jumper. Could she develop into a threat three-point shooter? In year 3, most likely, but not tomorrow or even next season. Avoid sleeping. She already shoots free throws with consistency. Additionally, teams in the WNBA will push you if you have discipline and form. This gives Caitlin Clark more space. A kiss from the chef. She is no longer required to make every play. She has a fallback. There are rebounders on her. She has supporters. To set those filthy screens, she has someone. Nobody wants to discuss the screens that are truly important. We also need to discuss who she defeated. Gillian Lane and Egypt never pose a serious threat. But that's no joke, Bree Hall. It was a true war in the camp. And Michaela arrived locked in, demonstrating that she wasn't present for the warm-ups and shorts. The deeper game is here. The Fever just acquired a future power forward out of one in a league where second-round picks are sometimes ignored. It's not common. That is pure luck on a lottery ticket. Perhaps most importantly, she doesn't clog the cap. Because of her low cost, Fever may eventually make another move. They made a wise decision with their final roster selection, so they have flexibility whether it's a point guard cut or a veteran pickup. Let's be honest about the timing as well. No one anticipates that she will spark it up right away. This is not a tale of Cinderella. She might be in the rotation for the playoffs, but it's a build-up. That's the way it goes. She has a quiet first season, but by year 2, she's a crucial defensive anchor. Natasha Howard arose in this manner. Jonquil Jones developed in this manner. That is how hustlers and long-range post players succeed in this league. And I have to say that at first I was among those who gave the pick the side eye. That Serena Sundell hype train was me. However, Fever noticed something that I didn't. A system fit them. They noticed glue. They saw someone who would simplify Caitlin's work and make Boston's life easier. They weren't merely scouting highlights, it turns out. They were conducting heart scouting. Additionally, Michaela plays as though she's vying for every second. And you know what? She most likely was, because coaches worry about who will actually do the dirty work when it's 7,272 with 2 minutes remaining in the fourth, regardless of how much fans worry about draft rankings. And it was obvious to them that she was that player. Let's take a moment to zoom out and discuss legacy. Filling the 12th chair isn't the only goal here. Teams create dynasties in this way by making wise, economical, and forward-looking choices. Are you curious about how the Aces got to be the Aces? They didn't waste money on the wrong individuals. They have a system that destroys other teams, and they picked and developed wisely. The first significant move in that approach was just taken by Indiana. Now consider the long-term configuration. You are Caitlin Clark. Your foundation is Aaliyah Boston. Your muscle currently is Makayla Timpson. For the first time, your franchise is balanced. Structure roles are equally as important as skill and hype. In fact, that makes sense. It's not about having the greatest names people forget. It all comes down to having guys that improve one another. 5 all-stars are not necessary. 2 stars and 3 shrewd, unflinching assassins are required. That's exactly what Michaela is. Not to mention how important this is for Caitlin Clark's growth. Look at what the Fever are giving her, while everyone is gushing about what she provides to the team. They're encircling her with a protective net. To relieve her of the burden, you provide defensive solidity to your franchise player. In the first year, that's how you keep her fresh. You can let her cook in this way without breaking her. On defense, Michaela allows them switchability. When Boston is doubled, she provides them the rebound. When Caitlin is pressing, she speeds up their transition. The speed. Each of those details is what will help you win postseason games in your second or third year. Furthermore, let's not seem as though this choice was obvious. They could have messed this up in a lot of different ways. Fans were pleading for a guard, so they could have taken one. A stat-chasing import may have been maintained. Instead of choosing energy, they may have chosen experience. Rather, they took the uncommon action. The best fit was actually chosen. It's more difficult than it seems, particularly when there is pressure from the media, fans, and Twitter users yelling, "Sign so and so." However, they managed to hold the line. They took their time, and the result is someone who will play a significant role in the upcoming chapter of the Fever. The funniest part is that this may end up being one of the season's most dull announcements. This is the type of move that casual viewers overlook. Give it time, even if it doesn't receive many retweets. Keep an eye on her as her minutes increase. By the middle of the season, watch her begin to clamp down on real stars. The true ones will then exclaim, "Damn, Fever knew." Other players are also forced to level up by this type of signing. It makes a fire. You either climb or fall when a rookie takes a roster position and begins to make an impression. Therefore, don't be shocked if this year you start to see various versions of players like Christy Wallace or Nalissa Smith. Everyone is more observant when Michaela is around. It's also beneficial for the locker room. No egos, no veterans upset over minutes lost. No clumsy energy. I'm just a young player who enjoys grinding, defending, and disproving others. Coaches adore that. Colleagues adore that. They'll adore it soon enough, fans. Let's be honest, though. She is not necessarily set for life as a result. One injury, one poor week, and a roster change. The WNBA is that. Ruthless and unforgiving. Each player has a tightrope to walk. She has earned it, though, and she is on for the time being. Just in case anyone is still upset that Jaylen Brown didn't make it. Don't. Despite her strong performance, Jaylen did not pressure the Fever to retain her. Saying no wasn't made difficult by her. Michaela did. It's as easy as that. And the entire Jaylen will be resigned in a month nonsense. Give up. Think carefully. Another mediocre guard is not necessary for Fever. A point guard is what they need. A real ball handler. A visionary. Someone who can help Caitlin when she's struggling. It's simply lazy to waste a roster slot on a combo guard who is incapable of leading the offense. Go on and find someone like Crystal Dangerfield. Killers, not warm bodies, are what Fevers require. Let's go back to Michaela. Nobody is discussing this little aspect that is undervalued. Her time in college. She played in a legitimate system, although she wasn't as touted as some of the others. She is aware of structure. She is aware of schemes. She can learn where to rotate on defense without your help. Her effort doesn't need to be coached. She has it already. You are aware of the rarity of that. The majority of new hires have undesirable behaviors. They go too far. They wager on blocks. In the paint, they are harassed. She's already ahead of that curve, Michaela. Her IQ is good, but she'll still have her rookie moments. She knows where she should be. That is important. And there's that mid-range jumper. If that turns out to be her go-to weapon this year, don't be shocked. Defenders in the WNBA like sagging off rookies. Permit them. After hitting a few of those, she will suddenly have the space she had previously lacked. That's the beginning. And you know what that implies? With Caitlin Clark receiving all the attention? More often than not, Michaela will be left in the open. No one is preparing a game for her. Not quite yet. And that's risky. Role players explode like that. The Fever nailed cultural fit in another way. She doesn't act dramatic. She's not entitled. She is not a blabber who wants to be popular on WNBA Twitter. She merely plays. And that's refreshing as hell in a league where every other post is a passive-aggressive subtweet. She is an example of a modern-day Dennis Rodman, minus the pandemonium, a workhorse, and a lunch pail baller. Furthermore, this isn't just about basketball. The atmosphere in the changing room is pleasant. Show up is the message it conveys. Quit talking. The ball is out. And at this moment, Indiana needs that. Just hoopers, no interruptions, no babysitting. In summary, this one caused the Fever to cook. Although it may not appear to be a 5-star steak at the moment, return in 6 months. You'll witness a rookie who knows her lane, makes the most of her role, and provides the Fever with just what they've required over the previous 5 seasons. Grit. This story is not new to us. In the playoffs, a random bench player ends up making the game-changing stop. When Boston is double-teamed, the person who grabs the rebound. When teams fall on her at the arc, Caitlin dishes to this one. No one ever talks about the players. They are the glue, the engine, and the reason teams stay together even though they don't have ESPN interviews or signature shoes. Makayla Timpson simply became that player when things got tough. And when she punches their superstar shot into the stands in mid-July, the rest of the league will be caught off guard, so they had best start paying attention now. The Fever just prevailed by playing the long game. Makayla Timpson is more than just the last word. On the floor, she is the missing component. Therefore, it's a bad idea to rule out Indiana already. This season is about to get vicious, so if you're ready to watch havoc in the paint, hit the like button and subscribe for more WNBA fire.